Hello, I'd like to ask, how much do you love yourself? How much of that love have you been able to show to yourself and to your neighbor? Don't ask me why I'm talking about love. And I always say, if you love yourself, the best way of protecting yourself is to ensure that people around you are well protected. And the best protection comes when we give good health to ourselves. Talking about health, a lot of times, for a long time now, we've been threatened by that very tiny, inconsequential, so to speak, because it's an invisible virus called the SARS-2, COVID-19. And when the first wave came, we thought it wasn't for us, but it came. It took a little bit of relaxation, and then it came and came big time. It is still raging. But what is our attitude? Are we enjoying the numbers counting up? And if we're not, are we doing the right things? How prepared are we in case it just happens to knock on your door? That will be our thoughts, our attitude, and COVID-19 during this second wave. And the show is Conversation. My name is Elizabeth. Today we'll have a lady joining us later, but in the studio I have Dr. Mohammed Kawu, who is the acting secretary, the
Health and
Human Services here in FCT. Thank you for coming on.
Thank you so much.
All right.
Good morning, viewers.
Okay. Now, I will take a break. When we come back, we'll look deep down onto what has been going on. The show continues.
The coronavirus pandemic. Information management is key.
I'm Cyril Stober.
Fatima Umar Buba.
Joseph Johnson.
Ian Ray John.
Muhammad Kudu Abubakar.
Jumbo Yusuf.
My name is Kirian Umaya.
Here in NTA, we're working very hard to make sure that everything we broadcast is accurate and up to date. Misinformation spreads very fast.
The social media has been a huge conveyor of misleading information from one individual to another, then to another set of groups. In a short while, it goes viral, and before you know it, it is all over the world.
There have been several misleading information on coronavirus COVID-19. Recently, the misconception of 5G as a cause of coronavirus is becoming widespread. Another is the belief that hot beverages and alcoholic drinks are internal cleanser for COVID-19, thereby leading to excessive consumption of these drinks.
The use of local concoctions as treatment for COVID-19 are yet to be scientifically proven. However, there has been several theories about the efficacies of these concoctions. We should stay safe and denounce all manner of fake news and misleading information on COVID-19.
For medical advice, go on the WHO website, Nigeria Center for Disease Control, NCDC website, or stick with the advisories from the Presidential Task Force on COVID-19 or other authentic official sources. NTA is one of them.
All right, COVID-19, second wave, and our attitude. It is important that we have it right. And have a man who within Abuja has been doing a lot of job to ensure that we stay on the right track. And of course, we are also managed. Doc, this, you've been here before, is a very relaxed conversation because we're talking to people like me who really don't know anything, So we need to communicate in the best of languages. Now, I know at a point we shut down most of the isolation centers, because it was like it went on holidays. And now the numbers did not just come back, but they doubled up. Are the centers all open?
Thank you. Good morning, viewers. I want to make a correction. At no time did we shut our centers in FCT because we were having clear instruction not to shut down any treatment center because ab initio the virus had not gone. The figures had come down even then, but that we started experiencing second wave in Europe and America much earlier, so there were fears. So because of that, no center was shut down. However, when we started, we hurriedly fixed 2 centers. That is, we converted our hospitals into treatment centers because we needed to fix centers faster. and that was Asokoro District Hospital, which had 90 beds, and Karo. Now, after having enough beds in Idu, 500 beds, this Dedum, 300 beds, and other centers, we felt there was no point denying the normal other patients the advantage of having Asokoro as a hospital, because it's our prime hospital. And it's our super specialist hospital where we have all these super specialties. So we reverted Asokoro back to normal hospital setting, even when the COVID was on. And the same thing for Karo. So to make things clear, we never shut down any treatment center. Although there were no patients, so we reduced the number of personnel, we reduced the activities in those centers, but they were never shut down.
Okay.
So when the wave, the second wave came back, even when the wave came back, we had some few patients in Dizedum and had no patient at Idu. We had some few patients in Gwagwalada, DSS, we were managing 1 or 2 patients. So when the second wave came, we just cleaned Idu, and because it came with severer form of the ailments, more people needing oxygen. So we had to now pipe oxygen in Idu and ensure that we have enough cylinders and oxygen for the patients needing oxygen. I can tell you presently we have over 70 patients in Dijedom on admission.
70?
70, yes. About 15 of them are on oxygen. Now, Idu, we have a few patients up to now, maybe about 8 or so, and most of them are on oxygen. Gwagwalada is almost full, because that's our tertiary center where most of the complicated cases are being managed, and they're almost full house. DSS, we have...
When you say full house, it gets me thinking, what's the capacity of Gwagwalada, for instance?
Gwagwalada is about 40.
40?
And, yeah, all the time we have about 30, 39, even 40.
And at 40 is almost full?
40 is almost full.
Wow.
Yes. But the good thing is that we have national hospital there.
Okay.
And we now manage severe cases in this day. We give oxygen, and the same thing we do. So we reserve Gwagwalada for those that have other very serious complications, maybe end-stage kidney failures. In addition to COVID, they need maybe kidney dialysis, and some may need surgeries. You know, we do surgeries in the treatment centers. For instance, in Gwagwalada, we did about 3 or 4 cesarean sections.
Oh.
Pregnant women
got
infected with COVID, and their deaths were due, and they needed operation, so we had to create a theater in the treatment center. And because you don't take those patients to the general theater, because we'll infect, so we had to create a theater in Gwagwalada. So we do surgeries.
Now, this CS session you talked about, was it because of COVID, or my question is, couldn't they have had the baby normal?
No, it's coincidence. You have a COVID, you have COVID, and you are pregnant, and you need to have cesarean section.
Okay, so if you have COVID,
it's not because of
they
COVID.
have COVID. Okay.
Yeah, it's because it's a COVID patient that needs cesarean section.
Oh, okay.
So,
okay. So a pregnant woman who goes into labor and you cannot, and it won't affect the baby won't get affected?
No.
Oh, that's good to know. Now, my question again is, we were able to fight and lower the numbers so well last year. And this year, we just suddenly had, towards the end of last year, we suddenly had these bursts. Where did it come from? Where did we get it wrong?
Now, most pandemics or epidemics, they come in waves, generally. And you can see what is happening across the world. Most of the world are experiencing second wave. And sometimes it goes to third, fourth wave if you look at the history of pandemics. So I can say usually it's the nature of the viruses. Now, we also contributed as a people. You recall, during the late last year, people started relaxing when the figures started going down. And where we had closed the society. We started reopening the society. Schools opened, NYSC camps opened, event centers got opened, despite the fact that NCDC and PTF said, okay, even if you are opening, you do this and this and this. But because the figures started going down, people became relaxed. And after opening, we've not been obeying the non-pharmaceutical preventive measures. So the virus was there. It had not gone completely. So the virus now got an avenue and started spreading again. So here we are. And don't forget also, international travels have been opened and people have been coming back to this country from countries where second wave has started already, like UK and America. So a lot of them also came back with we realized about 1 to 2% of all people came back positive.
But they always all had their tests, and uploaded before coming. So how did it happen?
Yes, you could get infected inside the aircraft.
The ones that I don't get it.
Okay. Now, the country you are living, you're supposed to do a test 48 hours before you board an aircraft. Now, after they have taken your sample, you are still in the country, up to airport, up to inside the aircraft. During that process, you can get infected.
Okay.
Are you getting me? So when you come back, 7 days in this country, you do a test again in country.
Okay.
So if you got infection after you had become positive there, during the transit, you get infected. By day 7, the incubation period would have happened, and if they test you, they can find you positive. So probably that's what happened, because a few of them actually became positive.
Wow.
Yes.
Okay, going back to travelers coming into the country, and I've heard that a lot of times you need to do self-isolation and all that. But this self-isolation is usually done in the home, right? It's not, there's no personal or a particular place you need to go and do this. It's done in your house. How about the inmates of the house? What happens to them?
Now, the management of this COVID had gone through a lot of modifications. And then you modify based on the circumstances, based on the situation. And each country decides how it wants to do its own management. There is no prescribed way of managing your cases. You have the knowledge of the virus. You know how it can be transmitted. You know how it cannot be transmitted. So you work the one that suits you. For instance, if you get to UK, initially they are doing 14 days isolation. And after that, you don't need to do tests. After 14 days, if you don't have symptoms, you don't have anything, you go into the society. They did that because they were able to monitor you. If you get to the house, they have a way of monitoring you. If you go into the society and you are caught, they send you to jail. Now, in this country, we found that it's difficult for us to monitor people coming in. Now, we know within 7 days, if you're infected, the incubation period is over. So if you do a test, the result will show. So the country decided, okay, anybody coming to this country, stay at home. Don't move around within people. Day 7, do your test. If you are negative, you are done. If you are positive, you get management. Now, the question you asked me is a very difficult question.
Because if I test positive, I would have spread it to my...
It is expected everybody is responsible.
Okay.
That's just the expectation. Because it's not possible you get a hotel, because that's where we started initially. You know, remember when
the hotels were even shut down.
Yes. Remember when people are coming, we got hotels and kept them. There were so many problems. They were abusing government. They were, so you had to feed them. So it's not a practical way of doing things. So you just tell people, look, self-isolate, do test, they survey. It is expected that you become responsible because the people you are infecting at home are your people, are your brothers, are your sister, your husband, your kids. How are you getting me? So it's expected when you come back, you stay in a room for 7 days, don't mix with people, do your test, and if your test is negative, you move around. If you are And don't forget also now, the management of mild to asymptomatic is some care. Unlike before, you see was bundling people in some states. They were so unorganized that they start bundling people as if they were common criminals into ambulances. All these ones have now been changed.
I recall those days.
Your result is out. We call you, look, you tested positive, please stay at home. We get somebody to come and see you. We talk to you, we tell you what to do, what not to do. We give you a package of drugs. This is what you should take. So things are changing, and there's nothing we can do about it. We just have to change and adapt these things. And also the fear of the virus has changed. Even the health workers, initially everybody was scared, and even the hospital, the doctors, the nurses, they were running away from the patients, even when they had their masks and all those things. But now they've relaxed because, it's not a death sentence, even those people that got infected. 80% of my EOC, Emergency Operations Center, we got infected, all of us. I got infected. So there's no big deal.
You get infected, you get treated.
You manage yourself. What is important is that you get sorted out. If you are having symptoms, or for us that are in the front line, we regularly do our checks, and if you are positive, you get managed or treated, and So I think the way we look at the virus has also changed, and so people are a bit more relaxed than when it started, that everybody that is positive must go to isolation.
In fact, we don't even get to talk to the members of your family if we know you're positive.
Yes.
Even when they are negative, because we don't know. Calling you on the phone, we can get it on the phone.
Yes,
that was the attitude then.
But thank God.
Change a little bit. But we're still looking at the people's attitude, and it's good we're getting a little bit, relaxed. But then we should still play caution, which is why we're having this topic. As at now, we'll take a little break, and when we return, we will be stressing more on the need for us to, be more conscious, because it may not be a death sentence, but our death rate has actually gone up. We'll take that break now.
Let's start by saying COVID-19 Israel. I personally know people, friends that I have grown up with, that have one just got discharged, another one died, and right now I just received news of somebody that I know has also been infected.
I'm also a victim of this pandemic because I contracted it and I was very ill. I remember very well, my temperature was 39.5 degrees for a very long time. I was shivering, I was cold, even where there are no air conditioners, and you lose appetite, you'll be weak, and you'll be seeing death, actually. You'll be imagining that, look, well, probably that's the way it would go.
And, several government officials that have gotten infected, some have died, even among us ministers, some of them, and they have tweeted, it's not a crime to get COVID because you do not ask to get COVID. But if you don't do the right thing to protect yourself, then it's a crime against yourself and against other people that you might infect.
And I know members of a family in Kaduna, 8 of them, went for a wedding, sitting on the same table. All of them died from COVID.
This is not the time. And I'm sorry, these days, when people catch COVID, It's not the time to go and say, I'm going to go and commiserate with the person who is COVID positive. No. Unfortunately, people need to be cured, tested and make sure that they are totally cured. Conspiracy theory about the vaccines will do this, vaccines will do that. No. Science is what we are talking about. And these vaccines have been subjected to scientific evidence, scientific analysis. They have gone through thorough analysis and testing. So please believe in science, not just in some kind of theory that somebody doesn't know anything. He'll just sit down and cook up or hear it from someone and then add his and now start spreading.
Yes, there is COVID. Are people contracting it every day? Yes. Are people dying? Yes. And look, when people in this country tell you they don't believe in it, we don't do testing. The testings are so low compared to the population of this country.
So let's make sure we get the COVID out of our country, out of the world, and it will start with you. Take personal responsibility. First of yourself, and you have responsibility to others. Family members, friends, colleagues at work, and the people in the whole country, and by extension, the whole world. Be part of the solution, not part of the problem.
My brothers and sisters in this country, Nigeria, COVID is real. And I, Farouk Adamu Aliyu, I'm a victim of COVID. I came out of it. And it is real, so that let's take it serious and ensure that we wash our hands, we use masks, social distancing, so that we reduce the transmission of COVID. Thank you.
All right, it's still conversations, and I told you later on, somewhere at a point, some other person will be joining us, and then we've just been joined by Rakiba. She's a familiar face here, and Rakiba, thank you for coming. It's actually your home, so why would I? It's your home, so
yes.
Thank you for having me.
I'm a regular at conversations.
It's all right. Now, I hope you have been protecting yourself.
I have.
And our little darling, the baby, she just turned 2, right?
Yes, she just turned 2.
Okay, as a mom, what is your concern when it comes to COVID-19?
My greatest concern is for kids being exposed to COVID-19 and they might not be able to tell you the symptoms.
They're having.
Yes, and then as it is said, the fatality rate or the occurrence rate in kids is actually lower than the elderly because their immune systems are stronger. So usually when I go out with my child, I'm very overprotective. At some point I stopped going out with her. We're always home. Even if I have to go out, I'll just leave her at home because they need to be protected. And my 2-year-old would not stay with a mask on. So it's a very big challenge. So the best thing you can do is to protect your kids from going to public places, from going to where there's more than like 10 or 4 to 10 people. So what I usually do is I try to make sure that I do steam inhalation. Even when there was a rise in the number, the early stages, there were rumors, people were scared, everybody was trying to keep put and be safe when we were on lockdown. Even when we were not going out, I had to do the inhalations, and I would just open it. I don't cover up, but I do steam inhalations, the local ones that we've been told to do, and then I try to make sure that I cover up.
Okay. Even the little girl does the steam inhalation?
Yes, she does. What I do is I usually put the concoctions inside a bowl, and then I put it inside I put hot water in it, then I put it on the table, then I let her sit on my lap, and then I push her head close to the bowl, and then she inhales. Because she wouldn't do it like you as an adult.
Exactly.
But it's very uncomfortable, but I try to do that because I want to keep her safe.
That's really nice. Anyway, let me let you rest a little bit and go back to Dr. Kau. Doctor, when we had the first wave, we had, number of deaths not as much as we have it today. And they've said a lot of things. I'm not a medical person, but I've heard variants, we have heard strands, we have heard, or type. what is it that is... Today I look at it, I think it's about 15 or 13 people died as of yesterday. Before we used to have like 2 or 3. Why is this one killing so much? And it's usually sudden death.
Thank you so much. One important factor is that this virus is a novel virus. It means it's a new virus that up to now not so much is known about it until research is done based on what happens over time. The second factor is the factor you talked about is the issue of variant or a strain, another strain. Viruses usually mutate. Mutation means they change their behavior, their character, if they are exposed to a host. In this case, the host is the human being. They try to beat the system. They try to survive. Are you getting me? I was on a live radio program with a virologist, which is a specialist on viruses from University of National State University, Kefi. He said on air that one of the private universities have really isolated a new strain in this country. That one has not been published. NCDC and Federal Ministry of Health has not said it so. But as a profession, he said it, and we believe we have some new strains of variants that are more virulent, more deadlier, probably than the ones we had initially. As you said, even the number of people needing oxygen this time is far, far higher than those needing oxygen last time. In our treatment centers, I told you last time, it was only a Socorro that we were using as an oxygen therapy center in addition to National Hospital and Guagwarada. But now we have to, all the centers now, we have to ensure that they provide oxygen services. This day, we do. Everywhere you are opening to manage COVID, you must have oxygen. We have seen Lagos is even doing oxygen kiosks. In each area, local government, they put a kiosk where people can be rushed to go and be put into oxygen because it's ravaging more in Lagos. But it's ravaging more in Lagos means we have to get ready.
Yes,
because so we are ready. We have in reasonable oxygen supply now, and we had already trained medical personnel, and we have recalled all of them. They are on standby, even those that are not on duty, they are available. And the good thing is that they are all calling me to say, you want to come and serve.
Oh, really?
Really, yes.
That's
they are
good.
lobbying.
That's good.
And I'm so happy, I'm so impressed, I'm so comfortable that people, the nurses, the doctors, you call, doctor, please, I want to be posted to treatment center. Unlike in situation where you see them running away.
Yes.
So we are really comfortable. They are doing great. So this is what is happening.
You're a medical person. You try to run away to this. So yes.
No, I don't. But we had a case of a COVID patient that a test wasn't carried out. I work in a particular unit. So when I went to see the patient, I saw the beds were empty, and I was like, "What's happening?" My patient was still there. I was still treating the patient, and then I overheard the nurses saying, they went for a test, that they had to evacuate everybody. That the patient on bed 4 was positive, but we didn't know.
Wow.
We didn't know, and he was a foreigner. I think he's a Chinese man. So that day I didn't sleep. My heart was literally on my hand. So, but unfortunately for me, I did the test and it came out negative.
That's
and none of our staff was
negative.
infected. Yes.
That's beautiful. But Rakiba, I know that generally, I went to a hospital, late last year in December, and I don't want to say I was scared really in the first place entering the hospital. I've never really liked hospitals, but with the period of incidences of COVID and all that, I got even more scared, going in. But I was surprised. A security man within that hospital, it's a big one. I don't want to name names. Yeah. The man had his face mask as a chin mask, and I said, sir, why are you wearing this like this? I thought it was supposed to be here. And he said, you don't listen to everything. There is nothing like COVID. And it got me thinking, this man works in a hospital as a security man. I'm sure, and then that particular hospital has a big number of the patient, as we're told. Yes. So how come he said, don't mind them, they're just making up the stories. In fact, even if it is, it's not even as much as they are claiming to be. And in my mind, I got worried. If this man who works here, seems to think this way, how then do we begin to reorientate the minds of the people on the road? Dr. Kawi, maybe you could speak on this. What can we do to really, rejig the mindset of the people? Like you said, it has to work with the host, and the host is human beings. And if you don't believe, you're definitely already, definitely.
And you pass it on.
Thank you.
Thank you, my sister. I think you're not fair to me. This is not about people refuse to believe. It's not a doctor's problem. Anyway, this is one of the biggest problems for this COVID-19. And we, up to now, are not able to fathom out what the problem is. People, up to now, don't tend to believe that this thing is real. A lot of people that you never imagine, people educated, believe. In fact, some people are even health workers, they don't believe. And I don't know why, I'm not able to get the answer. But that is one of the saddest things. Because for you to protect yourself, you must believe that this thing is there. If you don't believe it is there, then you don't care, you do whatever you want to do. And so if a lot of people are in society and they don't believe this is there, this is real, then we have an issue. And we have, in fact, those of you in the media, we have done a lot of publicity, a lot of communication, a lot of sensitization. Until now, people are seeing these things, even if they don't look at the international media houses, at least they look at our local things.
And it's been said in different languages.
Different languages. And they are seeing people dying. Are you getting me? Those figures, those numbers, they are real people. If you say 500 infected, 50 die, 30 die, they are not numbers, it's not 5 that die, it's not the figure 5.
But these same people feel that it's just politics, that people are just using it for... One white man said, the blacks, we should stop saying the things we are saying, because if you think they are going to use the vaccine to kill you, almost everything in your countries are produced by the West. Why would they wait until the vaccine comes? Why don't they use
chocolate
and all the things you are using, even the clothes we are wearing, everything? Why don't they use? So sometimes when you see people think, you begin to wonder what is wrong with them. If they want to kill you, they want to kill us, they want to do things, they don't have to wait until the vaccine comes, because they produce almost everything. We import almost everything, including, if not because this government decided that we shouldn't be importing rice. Even rice, our food, everything comes from there. So if they want to kill people,
even past parents that you can easily use, and things will be transferred.
So, but sometimes it's funny. We will just, as health workers, as the government, we continue to sensitize people. We continue to talk to people. We continue to do our risk communication, because it's very important. You can't force people to do things. You have to, first of all, get them to understand what is happening, and then they take personal responsibility. We have enforcement teams for putting face masks, but you can't go to the street, start arresting people and putting them in jail because they refuse to put face masks. So people, first of all, must understand what is happening. People must believe that this disease is real. Then they take personal responsibility. Then government support. Government is supposed to provide the drugs, provide the health workers to provide the PPEs, provide the treatment centers, provide the testing centers. Then the citizens will do their own civic responsibility. You protect yourself. You don't do what is not good. How are you getting me? You don't go. If government say don't go to this place, you don't go. So,
But sir, can there be rules pertaining, like a fine if you don't wear your face mask?
Yeah,
Because other countries have
we have
introduced
even
that.
in FCT we have a task force, we have mobile courts, they arrest
But most
them.
times the people arresting do not even wear the face mask.
I don't know, that's what.
That's the issue.
All right, so we have people writing into us. Like we say, it's a contributory. Everybody is, advised and asked to be part of a conversation. And this particular one, he didn't write your name, but I'll take the question. He said, now that second wave of COVID-19, it's getting higher. What is Nigerian government waiting for without getting the vaccine to the country to save people's lives? You know, you mentioned the vaccine already, and you're asking about it. When are we going to start getting it, and how is it going to, happen? A lot of people are already asking.
It's all over the news that the Minister of Health said that we're going to have 100,000 first batch coming. I think first week of February, also I don't want to give a date. And National Primary Healthcare Agency Executive Director yesterday was on news explaining how it's going to be done. He went to inspect the Abuja National cold store along the airport to ensure that the place is adequate for storage of the vaccine before they start distributing it. So he was on air yesterday, he was on NTA and all other news media. So we are ready, the country is ready, they are out, the vaccine is going to come. But I want to tell the gentleman or the gentle lady, when the vaccine comes, it is going to be in such a way that the most vulnerable will get first.
Yes, the elderly.
The very elderly, the health workers.
we the health workers.
So we the health workers, the vulnerable, those that are exposed first, while that's where we're going to continue to go. So it's coming and it will come, but before it comes, I think it's very important we inform people that this vaccine is real.
Exactly.
Countries are taking it,
exactly.
And the myth and misconception is wrong. It's not true. There are vaccines that were produced, and then there is development. The usual ways of producing vaccine is to grow the virus or the germ, and then attenuate it, kill it, then inject it into the virus so that it wouldn't harm you, but your body will recognize it and produce antibody against it. So that when you get infected with this virus, the antibody will fight it. So now they are using the RNA. RNA is going to produce some proteins, and we have gotten, if you see the virus on television, all these ones, so we know the way it is. So it produce some proteins that will look like that one. So the body is now producing antibody against that structure. So anything that is coming like that, the body's antibodies that are developed when you get the vaccines will now fight it. So you don't have to say because before it used to be a DNA type of thing, now it's RNA, they want to change your DNA. No, it's not true. It's like before now we were using cars that run with petrol. Somebody decided that it's a waste of time. They're using electricity. You go and charge your car. And so does it make it a lesser car?
It's an upgrade.
It's an upgrade, right?
Yes.
Okay, so the protein one is an upgrade for us.
It's an upgrade, of
But
course.
aren't you worried with all these stories? I mean, you're a health worker. Yes. We've heard about people, I don't know if it's true or not, it's paraded all over the social media who took vaccine and their face, got...
I even read something that said 1 people died, was it in Canada also after taking the vaccine. I think that the most challenging thing that the government will face is people might not take the vaccine. There has been an ideology that they are trying to reduce the number of Africans.
That's what I said. So
even the learned might not be willing. I have some colleagues that say I will not take the vaccine.
That's what I'm saying. Before the vaccine comes, the most important thing is to educate people. Yes. Show people and tell people the correct thing. Not tell them the story. Tell them the correct thing. As I gave the example with the car. The fact that you're using a car with petrol, and now you are going to charge a car and travel for 100 kilometers, 200 kilometers, there is a charging point again, you go and charge it, and that's not, it is just...
So, but will the vaccines be free? for everyone?
Of course, all vaccines are free.
Are free. Now, my question now is, a lot of times we have been asked, or we've been told that it will be made, compulsory. But I know that if I took a vaccine, I'm protecting myself. If you decide also to take, you're also protecting yourself. Must it be a compulsory thing for people?
Because I think
I'm not sure about compulsory or no compulsory. Vaccine is going to come and people should take this vaccine to protect themselves. Now, let me tell you the implication. Even if this country did not decide to make it compulsory, if you have traveled out, some countries can decide to say if you don't have show evidence of vaccination for COVID, you won't enter their country.
no, we get
Like we have a yellow.
We're
getting there.
That's what is going to happen. There are some yellow fever vaccine. If you're not vaccinated for yellow fever, you can't enter Malaysia, for instance.
But that's for those elites that can travel.
And
What of those that
that's what I'm
cannot
telling you.
travel?
So I'm not sure a government will say you must, because if the government decide to say you must do it, it's like they are forcing you and then there is a problem.
Yes.
So instead of forcing people, we just educate people. Let people understand what it is, what advantage it has, how legitimate, than say forcing. I'm not sure they're going to do
So how long will
like
the
forcing.
vaccination last?
I don't get you.
If you
Is
take
it-
the vaccine, you're free from COVID.
Is it for life?
For life?
I'm not sure.
Okay, now another question is, I seem to ask a little question. Like I said, I'm not a medical person. If the vaccination or the vaccine is what you told me it is, putting the antibody. Now, if I've had it before, do I still need vaccine? If I'd suffered from COVID-19, I don't, and then I've tested positive, got treated, test again, it becomes negative. Do I still need to take the vaccine?
There is evidence of reinfection.
Reinfection.
COVID-19, yes.
Oh.
We lost one of our senior colleagues here. He had COVID. He had comorbidities. He got discharged. He was negative. Then he got reinfected, and he died after that. And I also have a senior person that I'm working with that got reinfected. And there are evidences outside this country where people have been reinfected. So as I told you, the virus is a novel virus. Still, they are studying some of its characters. How we get to me? There are some viruses that, if you get them, you develop life
Protection.
There are some that you develop protection for some period. How we get to me? So it depends on those viruses. There are a lot of issues, and research is ongoing about a lot of things. I'm sure in the next 1 year or so we're going to have more information about the vaccines, about the virus and some other things. But there are some things that are very, very clear. That the virus has been isolated. The virus causes death. It causes this and this and these symptoms, as we are always saying. Are we getting me?
Yes.
And it affects people that have lower immunity than people that have stronger immunity. Even if you get it, if you have strong immunity, the immune system fights the virus more than those that don't have immunity.
Yeah.
So these are some of the things that are known about the vaccine, about the virus. And for now, we continue to work with what we know, while research is ongoing. So more information will continue to come, and that is what is happening all over the world, not only in medicine. There are a lot of things that you won't know until later. You discover, okay, this is this, as you continue to research on things.
I sometimes I want to call myself the COVID evangelist, so to speak, So I try to talk to people, and recently I happen to have had some young people, working around me, and I had to ask a lot of questions, and maybe my own little knowledge impacts on them. It was amazingly surprising for me to hear one of them when I said, you need to stop drinking cold things, do more of hot things, do steaming like you said and all that. One of them said, yes, that's what I do exactly. For instance, for my shop, I will say, every 2-3 hours, I take ogogoro. It's hot enough. It's funny, right?
maybe that he thought that was what he meant
That's
by
not the kind of hot.
I said, what did you say? He said, hey, that they are told that he kills it. I said, no, the alcohol they said to kill it is the one you find in the hand sanitizer,
Yes.
not the one you ingest.
As far
The
as
more
it's
you...
concerned, alcohol is alcohol.
and it's hot.
It's hot.
And it's hot. You
The
said
The
it's
guy, the guy was very serious. He said when he takes it, he burns his throat like this, so he knows he works, and that he has never suffered anything. So I try to, talk him out of it and all that. More sensitization. But talking about that, it tells me that a lot of us really don't know what is wrong and what is right. We still need to push as much as we can. A lot of them too are watching as we talk. Maybe you could enlighten us more on the things we can do to build our immune system. And chief number one is sleep. For me, Doc, I don't know about.
Yes. I think building immunity, in addition to the artificial immune boosters some people get, which are very costly, is to eat very good food. Good food with a lot of proteins.
balanced diet.
Yes, I think she should be able to
Balanced diet.
Yes,
Okay.
yes, balanced diet that has enough proteins, enough minerals, vegetables and all
Foods rich in vitamins C.
vitamins and so
This one you're counting. You're talking grammar. And me, I'm talking to that my friend inside Wuse Market. So you're talking vitamins and mineral. What does he want to know about
Like
that?
doctor said,
Give me
lots of
practical
fish,
food.
Protein, fish,
Okay.
beans, beef,
Uh-huh.
meat, those are the proteins. You do a lot of vitamin C. We get those from our foods. You
Oranges.
Yes, you do oranges, you do pineapples, you do even grapes, pomegranate, a lot of them that you can get your hands on. Just make sure that you eat a balanced diet, not that you eat tuwo and maybe say eba and egusi in the morning, afternoon and night. So you have to boost your immune system by taking those things at the right time and the right quantity, at least even if it's just once a day.
Okay.
Yes, you do a lot of, like some people say you can do hot water and lemon. I don't know if, doctor, I'm correct, if it works. Hot water and lemon, you can take that and then, it's a kind of detoxification and then it gives you a lot of vitamin C.
Okay.
And then the steam inhalation too. I don't know if it practically works, but I think it does.
I think I want to believe that it does work because for me, when I have normal cold, the common cold we have, if I do a lot of that steam inhalation and maybe chicken broth or something, it takes care of it. Amazingly it does. So, and if it's the same kind of thing, except this one is a senior brother, it should be able to, help out too. On a party note, doctor, I need you to please speak to Nigerians before we go. We need to change our attitude. Just final words.
Yeah, thank you. Everybody must take personal responsibility. If you get infected as a young man, you may survive it. You take it home to your elderly daddy or mommy or uncle who has some comorbidities, maybe hypertension, diabetes, and that person gets it, that person may not survive it. So everybody, every Nigerian must take personal responsibility. Before the vaccine comes, the vaccine we have for now is the non-pharmaceutical preventive measures that we have been talking about. That is the washing of hands with soap and water regularly, or using hand sanitizer, the wearing of face masks properly, the maintaining physical distance like the one we are maintaining now. We don't have masks, but we are apart, so we are comfortable. And then avoiding crowded places, especially the super spreaders events like the weddings, the parties, and all those places where you gather so many people from different years in a confined area. So this is what we need to do. And you don't have to wait until government decides to arrest you, you pay fine. Government decides, government does its work, you also do your work. You protect yourself. While government does, if for instance, even after protecting yourself, you get infected, government now takes care of you.
All right, thank you very much, Doctor. It's always a pleasure to have you. And Rakiba, it's good to have you back. And this time you're not going to run away again.
No, I won't.
And I'm glad to know that you're doing your best. Of course, you're a medical practitioner. You work with the medical field, so you should know what to do. And for me, it's always a learning curve, sitting down here and listening to people who are well knowledgeable. Have you been able to learn something for yourself? Have you been able to, learn to love yourself better? That's always my word. That word love can be used from different angles. One of them is loving your health and protecting yourself. That way you keep Elizabeth free. Keep the conversation rolling and ensure that every single day you talk to somebody about COVID-19 and, of course, all other health issues. That's it, and that's where we draw the curtains for the day. Bye for now.
There is a lot